February the 21st, 2017. Guys, you're looking at a website that's called the Sacramento River Watershed, sacriver.org. I'll put the link in the video, and there it is at the top. This section is called the Upper Feather River Watershed. And what you've got at the very bottom is the Oroville Dam. Notice in the bottom left of this corner where it says Oroville, the shaded area goes all the way to the almost to the border of Nevada and the High Sierras, and everything in the darkened area is the watershed. In other words, everything, all the rain or snow that hits this area ends up at Oroville Dam, and that includes several lakes and dams above here. Now, how did they rapidly get Oroville under control, guys? I'm going to read through that, but they shut down 9 of these dams as far as they're letting them discharge a lot, large amounts of water, and that stopped that backflow into it. There's 3 arms that come into this 900-foot dam, and it's North America's largest dam, by the way. But these 3 arms feed out. Notice this: you've got one going north, one south, and then one back east. All of this comes together into the Oroville Dam. But in that process, you go through Davis Lake, different ones, again, 9 different ones. Bucks Lake, Lake Almanar up in the very top, which is much larger than Oroville. Now they're all full. Now they're getting the rain that we've been talking about, and it's going to continue to rain. The current radar is showing that Pineapple Express extending out about 2,000 miles into the Pacific Ocean. But as we look at this map, and it's part of their, again, the watershed area, looking at Oroville Dam, you're at maximum capacity is 900 feet. Notice at the top, it went from last night at 10 p.m. to 8:49 to 8:51.76 in the last update. Now, the outflow has been pretty consistent. It's now going out a little faster than it was by 125 cubic feet per second, but the inflow has varied quite a bit. And what that is going to change, guys. Notice at the very top at 10 p.m. last night, that 93,000 cubic feet per second. Now it's down to 84,605 as they've let some of this pressure out. But again, the main concern in this video, and it's not just me, other people are watching it, the scientists in that area, are the 9 dams above it. Now, Shasta is not one of the ones we're talking about, but the red line on this chart is historical average. The blue line is where it's actually at. Don Pedro in the center right had to be released today. They had to let the overflow, and it carved out a section of the highway. They've got that blocked off now. This right here, guys, that center column that says 80, 110, 78, 94, that's the percentage of how full it is. Oroville at 80, Antelope 110, it's overflowing. Frenchman Dam 78, Lake Davis 94% capacity. And this is changing by the hour, and that's why I like to put the links up for you guys in that area. But imagine these dams, and look at Antelope Lake, elevation 4960. Look at the reservoir elevation, second column at the bottom, 5,004. It's went up now to 5,004.45 feet. You understand that is beyond full? So these 9 dams, they're going to be forced now to either let these dams be in serious trouble or release massive amounts of water. And all of the different tributaries that wind up at that bottom point at Oroville Dam. Also, record rains. Look at the snow. This is today, February 21st, guys. And when you get into pinks and purples, look over in the far left, you're dealing in inches, 100 to 150, 160 inches in some places. Think about that. Now, when your temperatures start getting above freezing, which it did yesterday in many areas, got up to about 47 degrees, this starts letting go and melting, and there's avalanche warnings through the entire high ranges there. But this is the normal inflow of Oroville. Look at this from the different forks I was showing you, and it adds up to 5,310 cubic feet per second. And now we're at around 86,000 cubic feet per second. It was at 90,000 last night. Think about that. Tremendous amount of water. And that's with the upriver dams shut off, and it's just taking the water that's between those dams and itself. Those dams will be forced to release the water. What will happen? Remember, there's a report about Oroville, came out in 2012, guys. I did it in a video where they said if they had immediate problems, people wouldn't have time to evacuate. And this is concerning some of the headlines. Although the California Department of Water Resources is claiming Oroville Dam is safe because the water level had fallen by 52 feet, that feat was largely accomplished by overfilling 9 upstream reservoirs that are expected to flood as another Pineapple Express storm train brings 48 hours of heavy rain through Wednesday. Today is Tuesday. You're going to get a little break Thursday, coming back in for the weekend. But the last storm, here's some of the things we had talked about. 2,000 people were evacuated. Although most Americans have been told the fissure in the side of the dam had been stabilized by opening the spillway to drain the lake and helicopters dropping the huge bags of rock, and then you're seeing they pour the cement in. It says the main thing that saved it was the water flow into Oroville Lake was restricted by overfilling the upstream reservoirs. That's the point of the video. These 9 state water project and PG&E earthen reservoirs on the Upper Feather River watershed, they feed directly into Lake Oroville, were already at maximum capacity prior to the new storms that started coming in yesterday. These storms are expected to bring another 1 to 3 inches of rain in the valleys, but the Central Sierras expected 10 inches of snow and rain over the next 7 days. That's not good. You already see the maps. With all the higher elevations reservoir brimming, Supervisor Kevin Goss from mountainous Plumas County told the Sacramento Bee, "I am watching and worried. Flooding from the last set of storms shut down escape in all directions in his Indian Valley district. The towns of Greenville and Taylorsville were isolated, and sewer systems suffered extensive damage as many roads washed out. The flooding from the new storm is expected to be much more serious." Guys, do you hear that? You need to pay attention to this. It's going to flood the upper sections above Oroville because they're going to have to release water to save those dams. And that last big stop, the largest dam in North America, is going to be under tremendous pressure. In addition, relatively warm temperatures up to 49 degrees today near Tahoe caused snow melt. This has put out, guys, they've got avalanche warnings everywhere in that area. These snow to water equivalents for this time of the year in the Central Sierras are at 183% and the Southern Sierras at 205%. It says the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration warned that the mountains could see significant runoff. Now, all that runoff is going to end up at Oroville. The total capacity of the upstream dams is about 400,000 acre-feet, or about 1/10 the capacity of Lake Oroville. Last week, the upstream reservoirs were allowed to fill in an effort to take pressure off the Oroville Dam. But with the dams full, virtually 100% of the rain and runoff from the coming storms will flow into Oroville Lake. It has to. We don't know if there will be damage upstream, but we know that since they're full, they're going to have to release all incoming. Despite the upstream restricting of water flow, Lake Oroville added over 1 million acre-feet of water in 3 days during the last storm. Now, they're hoping that by releasing 800,000 acre-feet that it will keep it from overflowing. Everything's full, though, guys. They don't have that option now to stop the inflow of the upstream dams. Yesterday at 5, San Francisco had reached the annual rainfall. Think about that. It's just February. Authorities are warning residents living near the Tulum River in Northern California of possible flooding. The Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office, Sergeant Anthony Bergeron, there got people out knocking on doors. The levee there broke. They had to let the Don Pedro Dam spillway open. We talked about that. And as it came down the river, part of that levee gave way. They had to evacuate people. Guys, really, this thing could be just getting started, because once you start the flooding, unless you get a severe break, and you're saturated, the water just continues to rise. Now, there's highways that are down. The California Highway Patrol reports the shoulder of westbound Highway 50 east of Bridalveil Falls in El Dorado County collapsed, and the number 2 lane is buckling. They say the atmospheric river of moisture, and that's what we're talking about, this Pineapple Express. Again, current maps are showing it extending 2,000 miles out and still coming into California. And you've got evacuation orders near Manteca on the San Juan Joaquin River, guys. The levee is broke there. But you've got problems with the Tulum River because, again, the Don Pedro Reservoir. What we're dealing with is the climate chaos. It has everything to do with the Arctic vortex. We see it's not tight. We've got record heat in the south. Many places record cold, record rain. Complete climate chaos at this point. That's what we're dealing with. Look at Oroville down. Let's go back 24 hours. Inflow, 47,000 cubic feet a second. Now 82,000 cubic feet a second. But if you'll look at around 2,100 hours on this chart, about middle, it had gotten to 93,000 cubic feet per second. One other thing I want to link you to here is the www.parks.california government site, and it's the Oroville webcam. Check this out, guys, just to give you an idea. This is live as of about 2:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time today, and you're looking out over this valley, over this 900-foot dam. In the bottom right was what this section in the right looked like a few days ago as it was washing over. They got it down 50 feet. That's rapidly filling back up. Again, they've got to let the water out of these upstream dams now. They can't stop it. Is that this camera's panning itself. Notice in the top left it says spray. Now look to your right past this tree, down and right in that area, and you can see that they're starting to let more and more water out as that spray is rising, guys. That's hitting that release section where it's busted. Where it hits that, and you saw it come up like Niagara Falls. But look at the valley below this. It looks saturated. And you've got Oroville down below there, a few other towns. And they said they don't have time to evacuate. But this is very high up. And it is the last dam of 10 in this watershed. And they're all full. That's the point of the video, guys. Again, you can come here during the daytime. It'll kind of pan around. They need one below the dam also. I haven't found that yet. I've seen some people doing videos there, but I haven't seen a dedicated webcam. Keep this in mind. Keep your reservoir levels in mind. All the links will be in the video, guys. Be safe. You've got storm warnings again tonight through the mountains. And remember, they predicted 150-mile-an-hour gusts in the upper Sierras. They peaked out at 199 miles an hour. Incredible. 2 to 3 feet of snow again tonight. More rain coming in. And really, everything's right now at the breaking point. I don't know how it's going to get better before it gets worse. Not trying to spread fear at all, guys, but this is what you warn folks about. Nothing looks good about it. We're watching it. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.